Hey, Spuddies! Potato McWhiskey here, and welcome back to Montezuma's Bizarre Adventure. I think next up, we're going to be finishing off Ethiopia with cars, and then moving on to take on the Inca. Thankfully, that crossbowman decided to step out of the city, and I'm able to kill him quite easily, hoping that my musketmen can provide the support that I need. And I do have a bunch of swordsmen to upgrade into Muskim, but it's 155 gold each, so I'm going to be looking around to see if there's any pillages I can pull off to maybe pick up a bit of cash. Also, I finally captured that builder, and I think there was another builder somewhere in here too that I never picked up, but you guys are just going to have to stay mad about that one. First shot on Soto takes half the city's health, and Cars is still quite healthy. Hoping I'll be able to take this next turn. Decided to go for the Grandmaster's Chapel this game so that I can generate a ton of faith from pillaging, because I'll want to be doing that with my little vampires. But also it'll mean that I'll be able to actually convert the faith income that I get from pillaging into military units, which will make me feel quite good about my situation. I think I'm going to be declaring war on the Incas in the next couple turns too. Probably like the turn after I kill Ethiopia. Alright, time for Soto to fall. It belongs to me. That is the death of Ethiopia. I get +5 era score. I now have a guaranteed golden age. I already had one actually. But that's Ethiopia dead. Now the downside is this is going to give me a bit of grievances with the Incas. But I think it's time we declare the formal war. War is declared. I'm no longer at war with Leventa, which is nice. I'm kind of tempted to get them under my wing. If I have them under my wing, I'll have someone that I can actually trade with for gold, which is my big problem with my trade routes right now, is I have no one that I can actually trade with. So I think that's probably going to be the plan. I know I just spent like a few turns like pillaging the hell out of Leventa, but that just was mainly to get extra faith. For now, I'm going to be looking to conquer my way through. The hard part is going to be this encampment, because there's not much room to walk around it with this mountain here and this mountain here. So this is going to be a bit of a choke point. I might have to spend some time like breaking down this thing. But if I can get around it, maybe using this siege tower that I have over here, I might be able to circumvent the hard work that's going to take. I still have a couple of Eagle Warriors knocking around, and these are going to be helpful because I can still generate builders by getting kills with them. And they're not completely useless at the moment because they still 35 combat strength, which is like on par with sort of a weak swordsman for a normal civ. But these guys are going to have to be sort of updated soon. Hey, lovely. So we won the military emergency, getting us 200 Diplo favor. The problem is that everyone's at war with me. So that's a bit of an issue. So I don't have anyone I can sell this Diplo favor to. I think now I'm going to be sending cars down to the Fountain of Youth. Now that I've finally taken care of this stuff, I think it's okay to run all the way down here. It's not going to take too long. It will take a good while because of the sheer lack of roads that I have. What I could do is, since this is going to take like 13 turns, even with the Great General, if I look at the path he's taking, and I were to get a trader in Mekele and maybe trade with like Mecca or Cairo or something, or maybe even in Adwa, that might speed up the rate a little bit. Although I can't afford a trader, damn. Yeah, he's just going to have to walk it, I think. Finished an armory in Baghdad. I have an encampment. I have a commercial hub. The only thing that I would maybe consider in here is like an industrial zone for a little bit more production. I'm trying to think if that's worth my time to build. Because right now what I need is gold income. So I might actually like sacrifice some of these production tiles in favor of actually working these commercial hub tiles. Because while that might not seem worth it, +4 gold right now is worth more than the 2 food 3 production. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable thing to do. What I'll do is I'll work this. I'll dework the 4 food farm because I don't need a lot of growth. I'm at my housing limit. I could, in theory, go for a granary and a watermill in here and another district, but right now gold is my issue. And the question is, do I want the Marco Polo great person or do I want great generals? And I think I'm going to go for the commercial hub investments and just spam them in Baghdad for a while. And this will give me a ton of gold to upgrade my units with and sustain my army. And also give me access to more great merchants as a byproduct. This is an important thing to do, because if I was just mass producing, military units, I'd run out of money very, very quickly. I have similar difficult choices in Barca, although I think it's a little bit simpler in here. I think I'm going to just run commercial hub investments again, just to maximize the amount of money I'm getting. I really do want double great merchant points to plug in, so I'll spend like 3 votes on that. And then I don't care about like duplicates. I guess I may as well say like tobacco because I have a decent amount. But I'm guessing these things are going to pass against my favor. Like great generals will probably be blocked. Okay, so actually I managed to pass great merchant doubling. And yeah, tobacco got no amenities, which really sucks because I'm playing the Aztec because I actually get 6 amenities out of that. But it's not the end of the world. We have completed the Grandmaster's Chapel. We should probably get our dam now to maximize our industrial zone adjacency. And that'll finish just about the time we want to start producing bombards. And I have a decent amount of niter saved up. In terms of what else I might want to build, it could be worth it for me to get a commercial hub in this city. I'm thinking that's a reasonable thing to do. I don't think I ever unlocked harbors, and that's another good way for me to actually generate gold. So I'm going to stop off and pick up harbors first. I also need to remember that I can convert faith into... I can convert my faith into units now, like military units. So that's something I need to keep in mind when I'm producing units on the front line. And also pillaging. Pillaging is super important for me right now. Let us begin the siege of Aksum. Had a couple of crossbowmen shoot the city. Bring it down to a reasonable health. We should be able to grab that over the next couple of turns. I want to pillage this... I want to pillage this commercial hub, ideally. Because there's a lot of gold locked up in there. But I also need to take charge of killing this city. Mecca has completed my Tlachli, which is my unique building. Half tempted to get a diplomatic quarter in here, even though I know it's probably not like super amazing. It does have access to the, a couple of these things, and it also can get me envoys and stuff like that. Alright, I'm losing the occasional swordsman and stuff like that in this fight, but that's not super important, because I am managing to get my kills and stuff like that. I do need to get rid of this swordsman. He represents a bit of an issue for me. I know he's only a levied troop, but still. I'm going to have to sacrifice a couple of attacks to get rid of him to keep the siege tower alive. But the city of Aksum should fall relatively soon. And I have my vampire over by Kitukara. And we're just about ready to start killing here. I am making 19 gold per turn. And I have a governor title that I'm not sure what to spend on. I think my best bet might be to go for Reina. If I could... Reina would really help me deal with my gold problem. Like if I could go for Harbor Master or Forestry Management or something. So I think I'm going to appoint Reina and then look for a city that has a really high population potential in the center of my empire. Like Baghdad actually might be the prime city for this. Is if I put Reina in here into Baghdad and then actually redirect this city towards massive growth. In the long term, I would be able to get massive amounts of gold from her. So I only need one more thing. So yeah, I think I'm going to maximize gold collection in Baghdad. So rather than run more commercial hub things, I'm going to run a granary, a watermill, and an aqueduct in here. And then I'll probably want a builder at some point in here, maybe before the aqueduct, so that I can build another farm triangle here and sort of maximize the amount of growth this city can get. Because I basically by using Reina, I'm turning this city's growth into food. Now, speaking of also doing that, if I'm going to be working a ton of things, a holy site might not be bad in this city too. Although, trying to think about what my best moves are. I could instead place my aqueduct here, and then maybe an entertainment complex there. Yeah, I like those moves. And then that will give me even more adjacency on this commercial hub. Not an amazing amount of adjacency, but better adjacency nonetheless. And then I think this is the pathway we're going to go down. I captured Kitakara, but I forgot to pillage the commercial hub. It's not the end of the world because I'm getting the benefit of the commercial hub at the very least right now. And I'm going to have to grab myself Victor and reassign him down here. Now the loyalty in here is going to be a problem. Mainly down to the just massive pressure he has in the area, and I haven't captured Aksum. But if I can grab a couple more amenities and maybe push through to Wanuku, I'll be in good shape. I really want to build a commercial hub in Mekele, but I can't afford to actually buy the tiles that I want to place it on. I don't want to kill this wheat because there is a good farm triangle there. I would ideally place it on this hill or beside this encampment, because then I could do another commercial hub in Adwa, for example. If I were to slap that down right there, I would have a good little triangle of districts all boosting each other. So I have one district built in here, and I have 7 population, which means I can build a total of 3 districts. But I think I have a campus placed here, so I might just finish the campus while I wait for the ability to do more in here. I could just bite the bullet and go for the harbor, which would potentially it would give me another trade route, but it wouldn't be very good. It would give me a ton of housing though. So if I were to do like a farm triangle in this city, I would have more population to work the slots of the harbor, which actually I kind of like. And if I place the harbor here, it'll give all of these districts here plus one adjacency from, you know, forming a little triangle. So that actually kind of appeals to me. I'll grab the harbor and the campus in here. We've got 6 turns in Adva until I can place another district. I'm just talking a little bit about my city management here in war. Like, because the actual war itself is basically like herder, throw unit at enemy, lol, win. At this point in the game, because I'm a little bit ahead. So there's not a massive amount of thought that goes into what I'm doing war-wise. You know, I just shoot city. I look for a unit that I'd like to get a promotion on. This guy I'd love to get to level 3. So I attack the city so that he gets the 10 experience from attacking into a city. And now I have another city under my belt. And I can just start to repair it. And then I click keep. I could liberate Ethiopia, but I'm going to keep it. The little bit of extra loyalty is going to help out here in Kudukara. I think the big thing is to get my crossbowmen into position to fight this encampment and see if we can bring it down. Jeddah as a city already has a campus and it has decent tiles, as well as I placed magnets here so that my chops would be more valuable. I could build a commercial hub in 11 turns because again I need to get my gold up so I can afford to upgrade my army. So I'm going to harvest here. That'll boost it to 5 population, as well as bring the commercial hub down to 6 turns. So I'll be able to finish this commercial hub really, really quickly, and then also maybe consider putting like a aqueduct down here in the city, or maybe getting some farm triangles to grow and work the commercial hub tiles. Alright, slowly clearing out this barb camp to the north as well. It's pretty tough because there's just a lot of barbs appearing. And they're occupying a lot of tiles, but we should be able to clear that out. We have the dam in the capital. We're 1 turn away from getting bombards. I have the time and the money to maybe get a commercial hub in here. My capital is a pretty good production center. I'm going to grab myself a trader. I think being able to trade now is going to be important, trading with Leventa. Also, Leventa has a settler for some reason. I don't understand why, but they do. I think a couple of people pointed that out. And it never registered with me. I think they stole it, actually, from one of the other civs. So my vampire could do insane damage to this thing, but I'd like to preserve his health, so I'm going to try to shoot it with crossbowmen first. And see if that maybe makes it a little bit better. Or do I shoot it afterwards with crossbowmen? Yeah, it's probably better to shoot a crossbowman first, just to bring the health of it down ever so slightly. So that's what I'll be working on next. The good news is my units have really, really high movement, thanks to that great general providing the AoE movement and combat strength benefits to take on this district. We should be able to break this down pretty quick. Even though this guy doesn't have a huge amount of combat bonuses, he's still a musketman, right? He's still a really, really powerful musketman that can heal from pillaging. Oof, another major drought down by Cairo. Not ideal, but I'll accept it. I would like to work more of these food tiles so that I can keep growing this city. This is going to be another city where I potentially work commercial hub tiles. So I might dework this and dework this and just go for more food to try to get more pop in here. I think that has like a really good return on investment over the long term. Also want to pick up banks now. I have access to bombards, and the thing is, I'm running out of money to start upgrading my units. If I keep pushing my tech higher, I'm going to have an even harder time upgrading my units. So I think picking up the bank right now is the good move. And I think also to support my war effort, I'm gonna go ahead and faith purchase myself a bombard on the front line. We should be able to bring this down this turn, I think. Almost have the money to upgrade this bombard. I'll be able to do that next turn. I'm worried about this guy getting too low. I don't want to get him yeeted back to my territory. But I think we should be fine to just pull him back in a turn or two. I'm just out of range of trading with Leventa from my capital. So I'll do probably the next best thing and just trade with Jeddah. Even though that's not a very good trade route, what it will do is it will give me a road going from my capital all the way through to Jeddah, which is my main line of reinforcement. And then I'll maybe look up to pick up a trader in Baghdad or Sempawala. Probably Baghdad, and then try to trade with Leventa. I do think it's time for me to pick up a few settlers. I have a bit of a coastline that I could use to reinforce my army in terms of like economics. Like I could pick up a few trade routes from this and a bit of gold and a bit of yields and a bit of chopping and stuff like that. So I'm going to spend a bit of time building settlers in my capital because I can reinforce bombards with faith. Brilliant, we got a great merchant. It is only a, envoy great merchant, which isn't amazing, but it does give me an extra 200 gold, which should allow me to upgrade this catapult to a bombard. And now I have 2 bombards on the front line, which is going to make taking down these cities really, really trivial. The extra envoy is going to be nice too, in case I lose suzerainty of any of my city-states. Die, crossbowman! Excellent. I'll be able to clear this out as well. A little bit of extra gold. Did cost me 2 musketmen for the bones of like 15 turns to do this, but we got rid of it at long last. Chopped out my commercial hub in Jeddah, which will allow me to get my market up. And another trade route. So gold income is slowly increasing up to 30 gold per turn. I'll probably need to get this up into a few hundred per turn to be able to sustain my army in the late game. But we're managing quite well right now. First shot with our bombard on Wanuku. This is the power of bombards. Like, they really, really make it so that taking down cities with walls becomes almost trivial. Like a single shot and I've taken down half the city's combat strength in terms of fortification. Settled ourselves another city on Texcoco. And we can work on a harbour in here. That'll be the long-term goal. I will need to get these buildings up as well. But I think I'm going to go straight harbour and maybe see if I can walk a builder over here. Another farm triangle for Mecca. The city is going to grow absurdly quickly. Now, we are getting the aqueduct really, really slowly. It might be better to work a bit more production, but I'm trying to maximize the growth in here. And that way we'll be able to work more of the specialist tiles. So I don't mind sacrificing a bit of growth, or sorry, a bit of production for a lot of growth. Right, let's get rid of that swordsman. I'm also going to double bombard the city, and that should completely remove the walls, like so. I should also start moving in crossbowmen to get pillaging. And I also need to get some of my musketmen down here. I did upgrade one of my units to a musketman. These swordsmen are a little bit too weak to really do too much right now. But I'll still be able to use them as we go through here, because they have a little bit less defense. And I do want to get as many pillages off as possible as I go through their lands to maximize the amount of faith I'm getting. One big problem I have is that the Incas have been converting all my cities to Hinduism. However, if I can kill them before they're able to replace Dido's Judaism, I think we'll be just fine. But there is a bit of a time limit on that, because I don't know what the status is on his conversion of Dido. I'm hoping that it's not very good. Right, we have the market in Jeddah, and I think the thing to do here is to make sure we're working that tile, and then see if we can't grab ourselves another couple of builders in here. Right, here's my very first trade route to La Venta. That'll give me 5 gold per turn, but that will grow over the course of the game as our trade routes get more powerful from the better roads and stuff like that. Cars has finally made it to the Fountain of Youth, so now he is super fast and heals really, really quickly. And he's now a super powered vampire. It's time to get him over to the front line. Right, let's do a little bit of pillaging. Bombard the city. And see if we can't take out this knight. So I'm doing a bit of pillaging. I kind of wish I had been in position to actually conquer this city this turn. But I'm not. But I might be able to pull that off next turn. So that'll be fine. We got a couple of pillages. It'll be okay. Kind of annoyed that he managed to get a crossbowman into that city, because it's going to make my life a little bit harder. It is what it is. Right. Let's see if we can't capture this city now. So, Wanuku, I have promotions. So I want to use those if I can too, to try to buy myself a little bit of time on these guys. Let's shoot the city with you to get you a bit of experience, and then we'll kill the city with the swordsman. That'll get him some experience to level up. We can make a dedication. Super tempted by monumentality here. Reform the coinage seems really good too, because it would give me a ton of extra gold. Yeah, I do feel like it's monumentality or reform the coinage, and it really depends on, do I want to spend my faith on military, or do I want to spend it on things like builders? And I think my best bet is actually to spend it on builders. As odd as that sounds, like if I come in here and I just whip out granite caravanseries and plug in serfdom, I can now convert fate into economic power, which will give me a much bigger punch in terms of economic power supporting this army than if I was just to continue to use faith to produce units. Because like upgrading units is really, really efficient. And like if you consider this, like the upgrading an archer to a crossbowman, right, it's 125 gold. That means it was 60 production plus 125 gold to get a crossbowman, whereas normally a crossbowman, like just to produce a crossbowman, is 180 gold. Or sorry, 180 production. So I think going for the economic play here and supporting my army through other means is the right move. And I can still use some of my faith to purchase units too. So I think monumentality is the right move for this era. And we also need to start thinking about getting rid of this guy right here. So we'll bring our Great General forward. That'll allow my Bombard to do some damage to him. I'm a little bit worried about this guy being pretty low on combat strength, because he is in range of a Great General and you only have 30 melee strength compared to his 70 damage. So if I were to retreat you, I think you'd have a better chance of survival. It's about time that I got field cannons. Now that he has musketmen, I do kind of need field cannons to be able to sustain my my crossbowman's power on the battlefield. Right, there's a few directions I could go now tech-wise. We have like the basic mid-game tech. I could go for field cannons right now, and this would be a significant upgrade for my crossbowman, especially with the gold that I have coming in. I could also head down the military science line to pick up cavalry and military academies and stuff like that. I do think ballistics is my best short-term, and then maybe head up to industrialization and steam power to get railroads. So I think this is the short-term decision, and then we got to choose whether we go for factories or if we continue to go for artillery and oil. Now that we have diplomatic service, we can get spies, which is great. I think I would like to pick up mercantilism. More importantly, I'd like to get to my next government, which will be quite a while away. If I could also maybe pick up one of the cards, like one of the cards from the governments, like for example, if maybe one of these civs over here has built one of the card-giving wonders, like Alhambra, that would be great. We'll have to see how things shake out. Right, we got another great merchant. This is a new governor title. Not the perfect one, but it is one that I will take. New governor title. I think that's going to allow me to appoint Liang in the city of... I want somewhere relatively central where I can mass purchase builders from. I guess Teotihuacan is good, but I'm going to put them in Mekele. And then when she's finished establishing herself there... But yeah, I'll start mass producing builders from Mekele in a few turns. I did lose a crossbowman. That hurts. It's not the end of the world, though. You expect to lose a couple of units when you're pushing like this over the course of a game. More importantly, though, I will be able to take on this musketman. Got myself another great general. This is Gustavus Adolphus, and he can actually create a bombard, which I'm gonna do because I already have enough great generals to handle my other stuff. So I'm gonna probably use him to create a bombard on the front line to help me take Cusco and Antiola. I don't have to say that city's name. We do have access to banks now. So now that we have markets and stuff online, that's going to be sort of the next decision to make. The real question is, it would take a while for the bank to pay itself off in terms of like the investment into it compared to running commercial hub projects. But I do think the bank is a worthwhile investment because more importantly, it gives my commercial hubs an extra slot to work, which I should be doing in these cities. So I'm going to quickly faith purchase a builder in here to get this farm triangle back up and running. And then I'm going to lock in this farm triangle for Cairo to maximize the growth. And then I'll get another farm triangle right there. And then with these two farm triangles, I'll be able to justify working this commercial hub and generate insane amounts of gold to sustain my army. Hey, I got Istor of Miletus. That's another great engineer who will allow me to build wonders quicker. So if there was a particular wonder that I wanted to maybe get my hands on, I could justify it much easier. I could go for the Oracle in my capital. It's not a bad one. It would give me a ton of extra great people points, although I don't generate a huge amount of great people points in my capital. And a lot of these other wonders aren't amazing. Let's have a look around and see if there's anything I want to build. Well, Kilwa would be good. Maybe not super worth it considering I only have a couple of city-states on my side. Terracotta Army could be really, really powerful. Could I build that down in Cairo? I would need to build the barracks or stable first, so I would probably have to give up part of this triangle if I were to do that in Baghdad. I'm okay with giving up this bit of this triangle. So yeah, I'm gonna go for the Terracotta Army in Baghdad. That's gonna significantly upgrade my army. And I'll teleport Isidore over here. We'll begin bombarding Cusco, and that's important because it's going to be one of the harder cities to take just because of the sheer amount of combat strength it has. But it doesn't have walls, so it's actually going to be fairly simple to take as well. It's kind of a bit of a paradox. It's like a difficult city to take, but it'll also be fairly straightforward because it doesn't have walls. And then we'll send a siege tower up to Antawalia. My god, I don't know how to say that city's name. But you can see my army is starting to get a little bit more updated. I have far fewer swordsmen and eagle warriors and archers knocking around, so it's becoming a much more high-tech army. It's getting a little bit thin. I'm going to need some more units, particularly since I'm heading towards nationalism. I'll need to be able to combine my units together. The good news is this is a perfect opportunity, the city of Cusco is, to actually get some levels on my ranged units and my siege units. So very happy about that. I'm also able to get a really good hit on this city thanks to the siege tower. I'm doing 28 health damage with a single musketman, and I have a couple more musketmen coming and a skirmisher to assist. Looking pretty good on my end. I might actually try to get a crossbowman up that way to assist. I find the best thing to do with your low-tech units is to kind of keep them in the back of the army, providing support in terms of like garrisoning cities and stuff like that, and clearing up any units that might be hanging around. Alright, Isidore, time for you to build the Terracotta Army for me. So he almost finished that in a single turn. I'm going to use both charges. I just want to get this done. It'll give all of my units +1 promotion, which is going to be pretty huge considering I have a relatively large army, and having them highly promoted is going to make the rest of the war across the continent much easier. I only have 3 more people to kill, so I'm making good progress. Settling another city up the north. Mostly again looking for these cities to pay themselves off in the long term in terms of economic output. Alright, the siege of Cusco is completed. We managed to bombard the city with a ton of units. We can take it for ourselves. It's going to make loyalty in the local area much easier. Wanuku was having a bit of trouble. It should not be having trouble after we keep this city, if it would actually update. But this city is so huge that we're going to be able to keep it all by its own. And now we just have to capture a couple more cities. I might even capture some of these city-states. But I also need to get more units on the front line, so I'm probably going to have to look around to see where I can afford to produce units. And probably my capital after the bank is the best place to sort of bring reinforcements in from. It's going to be a long walk for them, but if I can keep a steady stream on the way, it'll be okay. Let's finally promote Reina with Tax Collector. Then if I come into Baghdad, I should pick up an extra chunk of gold. Oh, I guess all my gold disappeared there. I'm not sure why. Alrighty. Is it because I captured this city and it was like really expensive to maintain? Maybe. Apparently my income went down. A little bit confused about that one. But okay. I have 8 trade routes. I guess I must have finished a bunch of buildings that give trade routes. So let's do a round of like traders wherever it makes sense. Anywhere under like 10 turns, like somewhere in the region of 5 turns, I think I'm okay with. But anything over that, I'm not sure I'm okay with. Oh nice, we actually captured Alhambra, which opens up some more options in our military policy cards. I think retainers or limitanii would be good here. I'll plug in raid since I do plan to do a bit of pillaging as I move across this world. Ah man, I really need cavalry actually. If I could get a few coursers and light cavalry to run around and do my pillaging for me, that would be amazing. I think that's my next sort of military goal because I do have a decent amount of horses in stockpile. Right, there is the Terracotta Army. Perfect. Every single one of my units will get a promotion now. I'll just go through and find the units that are like most vulnerable to death currently and take promotions on them. Right, let's bombard this city. I can do a huge amount of damage with this musketman. Cars will be here soon to clean up. I also want to get pillaging, but I think I need horsemen for that, and to that end I should probably prioritize researching castles to get the courser. Even if I want ballistics, horsemen are going to be pretty out of date soon. So I'll wait till I have castles to start producing coursers and just get a couple of traders first. Beautiful, there's a +3 campus, and now that Liang is established in Mekele, I'm going to start chain purchasing builders from here to sort of spread out and improve all my territory. Finally, my capital can reach Leventa with a trade route, which is excellent, because that means we're going to pick up a bunch of extra gold over the next few turns. It might only look like +3 gold for now, but I believe as you advance through the eras and your roads get better, these trade routes become more valuable. I feel like this military emergency is a little bit out of date, considering that I have already recaptured Aksum, but okay, let's start doing the whole pillage thing. Oh, I should have pillaged that trade route as well. But yeah, we're going to pillage. We want to ideally pillage all the cities that we run across. And the reason for that is so that we can maximize the yields we get out of it in the short term. Because long term, these cities aren't going to be... They're going to take a long time to pay themselves off, essentially. So if we can like pull a bunch of value out of them really, really quickly and then move on to the next city, that's going to help us sustain our war machine. Speaking of which, I am like chain purchasing builders. But I think I'm going to have to spend a little bit of my faith on keeping my army supplied over here. Because I just don't have enough units. So I might actually faith purchase like a couple of these coursers. Just to help me fill out my tiles and pillage more of them. Lovely. Got myself another great merchant who will give me 200 gold and 2 envoys. Now I have enough envoys in the bank to consider maybe challenging the suzerainty of another city-state. I'm thinking Granada would be a good one to challenge. So I might put 3 in there. Just to break their suzerainty for now. And then I'll look into taking it for myself later. It's also time to retire Sun Tzu. He's been around for quite a while, and I'm going to get that great work of writing out of him. It's a little bit of extra value, like great work of writing, not hugely valuable to me, but it will, over the course of the game, be helpful. Here's where the pillaging starts to pay off. We're picking 324 gold up off the ground, and that I can feed now into upgrading some of my units into musketmen and field cannons over the next bit of time. Like, just that single pillage here enabled me enough gold to confidently get 3 more musketmen who I can actually start using for my conquest. Another round of pillaging in Antowalia as well. That should be good enough, I think. Yeah, I think that's enough pillaging. We'll take the city for ourselves. I'll keep it. I love pillaging holy sites because it gives me more faith to get more builders and also sustain unit production. Now I have to make a decision about which city-states I'd like to kill. I'm probably going to kill Vatican City. That seems like a good move to me, considering it's a fairly weak city-state. I do have to be careful about getting my coursers killed because they are super vulnerable to the pikes and shots. But if I can sneak over to this holy site, for example, pillage this farm and get over there, I'll be in good shape. See, this is the thing I wanted to be careful about with my coursers. They're very, very vulnerable to these pikes and shots. So let's pull him back and get a pillage for a little bit of faith and a nice heal. Ooh, I could go for Elite Guard on this musketman. He's actually level 4. This would allow him to attack twice per turn and actually move after attacking. Both of those are really, really powerful abilities. So we shall pick him up as we run around and pillage the rest of his territory. For some reason this bombard can't reach the city, so I'll have to move it forward. I thought, like, I don't know why I can't shoot over this. Oh, I guess it's a hill geothermal fissure. Can finally afford to place the commercial hub in Mecca. At long last, been waiting a long time to get that one down. Got a couple more envoys. I think it's safe now to take suzerainty of Granada, and that's actually going to tell me quite a bit about the northern area of the map. What I could do is levy their military. They have a decent military that I could upgrade as well. If I was able to pillage enough gold, and I'd be able to basically spawn an army that I can attack from the north with. So I think that's going to be our next goal, is to try to pillage enough gold and stuff like that to actually pull that off. There's going to be a decent amount of pillaging going on over the next few turns. Jesus Christ, the city has 71 combat strength. Even Esadisi, who's relatively strong, is going to have a hard time breaking this city. I guess I'll just have to wait till we can whittle it down with our range units. Right, I'm starting to think triangular trade is more important than urban planning because the gold and faith is more important than just the production. I have plenty of production, so that nearly doubled my gold income and gave me a significant amount of faith as well, which is making me fierce happy. This city is going to be hard to break, but I think the more important one to break is this capital city, and I think now is the time to actually try to break it rather than continuing to pillage, because this pike and shot stepped out, making it a much easier attack. Just pillaging basically every tile in this city, trying to maximize my income so that I can maybe purchase more units. Now that I have ballistics, I have to make this decision. Do I want to go for industrialization or do I want to go for artillery with oil? I feel like Dido has a ton of science, so I'm going to need more advanced tech to be able to take her on. So I'm going to push hard for oil, I think. As much as I want industrialization for the extra production on mines, as well as access to coal and stuff, being able to get artillery is probably going to be the most important part of taking on Dido. Mongolia should be relatively easy to take on, but the fact that she's making 168 science per turn is going to be rough. But I think we've more or less beaten the Inca in a single episode, and we've made some significant progress. We've managed to majorly upgrade our economy in the back supporting this army. And I think we're continuing to see just the power of these vampires, because like this guy can just do, look at the damage this guy can do to this city. He has 90 combat strength. Like, just again, to put that in perspective, the giant death robot has 130, which means like if you consider a mechanized infantry, it has 45 more combat strength than that unit. The strongest unit I have is a musketman with like a base strength of like 65. So this guy is like a giant death robot running around in the Renaissance era. Anyway, I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!